Hey, everybody, welcome to 2024 and to the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley, joined by Lon Graham. Hey, our episode here had a little technical problem at the beginning. So if you're watching this on a YouTube or you're watching us on our website, if you're watching us right now from a video perspective, the podcast is going to pick up about 3 minutes in the conversation. Now, the good news is, maybe we didn't say anything quite super profound at that point, so you're not missing much. But if you want to know what we said in those first 3 minutes, the full audio is streaming across our traditional podcast platforms like Spotify, Google, Amazon, and everywhere else it is. So you can catch those 3 minutes there. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy the video.
Yes, indeed.
As it's 2024. We want to talk today about goal setting and execution strategies.
Okay.
Right? Because that's a big thing. Now, I understand a lot of people plan, they do their Q1 and some do their whole year plan in December, Q4 the previous year. But let's be honest, most business owners don't do it that way. We're making New Year's resolutions. We are, doing all these things. If you're in the gym world right now, you're probably too busy to even listen to us right now because people have made the resolution that this is the year, unlike the previous 20 that that they're going to do it. I say this every year, but I'm coming down, not at the speed that I want. But and please don't DM me wanting to be my virtual trainer.
With a personalized performance plan.
And listen, I go for it, and there's people that need that. This is one of those things I got to do in my way and in my situation to continue to get healthier. But every step of the way, there's better results. I look at pictures of me from 5, 6, 7 years ago. I'm like, how did I let that happen?
Right.
So we all got our priorities. We got things that we put important, and I think health is one of those things. From a resolution standpoint that I want to continue. I lost some people, some friends, some colleagues in 2023 to things that didn't have to happen. You never know if you're gonna have a heart attack or something like that. But there are certainly things that you could do to bring that on. That other people, I know completely healthy people that have heart attacks too. But certainly there's some things gonna happen. So it gives you perspective and changes the perspective. So and setting goals again is not. Cory, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. The old, they attributed to Tyson. I don't know if he actually is the one who originated that statement, but that's who they attributed it to. But that's not a reason to not plan.
Correct.
Right. Chris Rock says, people, they do dumb stuff in the name of you're not promised tomorrow, or I could go outside right now and get hit by a bus. And as Chris says, but guess what? Chances are, that won't happen. And you'll have to live with that stupid, dumb, crazy bad decision that you made because you didn't go out and get hit by a bus. So it really is an ebb and flow. We have to have a plan. We just have to have fluidity in that plan. So we're going to give some tips, hopefully pour into you some things as a framework and just as a way to think and affect change in that area.
Go ahead. 2024 is, the beginning of every new year is an opportunity to refresh that. To re-energize yourself.
Not repeat it. Learn from the lessons.
Correct. Yeah. It's and the new year is a natural calendar change. So we change numbers on the year. So it's a great opportunity to sit down and even if you hadn't done it before, now's a good time to start.
100%. It's never too late because those goals get planned, but they also can get adjusted, and many times will need to be adjusted. Correct. There are things that we certainly can't predict that are going to be on the horizon. Opportunities, things that are going to happen to us, around us, in us, for us, against us. But there's a couple different things that we want to focus on here today, and one of those I'm going to get right into it is everyone's starting to think about the role technology will play in their goal setting process, and how do they incorporate technology, right? Is that project management software? Is that AI and analytics? Is that, there's a lot of great services out there that are doing things to help you better plan, create schedules, get in alignment, digital dashboards, really a couple different ways to ultimately not just set goals, but to track goals. That's important because anybody can sit down and write down I want to make $1 million this year in the business. I want to hire 10 people. I want to take 7 vacations. But now you have to have, obviously, right, that execution plan. So technology, where do you think technology falls into this mix?
Well, I think technology does 2 things for you. One, it helps you keep track of it, like you said. But in order to keep track of something, you have to do something to keep track of. True. So I think technology allows you to keep track of what you're doing, so that you can, because what we don't do, especially people that are highly motivated and set goals every year, what we don't do a great job of is giving ourselves credit for the progress that we've made. So technology allows you to track it, and by tracking it, you can see how far you've come. The other thing that technology allows you to do is it allows you to organize your activities.
Right.
It allows you to say, okay, this is how I want to go after these goals, or this is the order that I want to do it. It allows you to do some planning, and maybe even, act like a GPS for you and help guide you to where you want to go.
Well, and that's a great point. The key is, a situation when we think about, should we force technology?
Mm-hmm.
Like what roles does that play?
Right.
Like technology for technology's sake, or do we have to do it just because everybody has an app?
Right.
I watched an interview that Simon Sinek did, the Start With Why guy, right?
Yeah.
And I was so excited. And I gotta be honest, I can't sit through a lot of people's stuff.
Right.
So I mean, I generally pray and hope that we're interesting enough that you take value and listen. But I can't sit, like, some of these guys run 2 hours, 3 hours. You're out of my, you clean your whole house. You can clean your whole house, do a whole workout. You can do a lot, right? So I was so thrilled when Simon Sinek, because he's known to be very brilliant, with sharpest minds,
right?
A lot of great work his organization's done, but he said that he's kind of a bit of a mess, like in terms of how he, whether that's keeping his schedule or kind of keeping priorities in place, and he doesn't read. He likes to read more. It's not, but I was so like, oh, and I say that not because I'm a mess. I'm just making the point that I've tried to run out and get the latest apps. Oh, you need things, or you need InMotion, or you need this thing. It's going to make you more productive. It's going to do this. And I struggle to keep usage up. So, and you see me in the office, you see me carry around a tablet,
right? Right.
So it's like, am I missing the boat? Because I think it's okay to not have to slam technology down your throat. But look at our goal here, and our statement here to set those goals and follow through is to see what technology, don't ignore it.
Right.
See if there's something that can help make you more predictive, but more importantly, help you get to where you want to go with the goals that you're setting.
Well, 100%. And what there's a lot of value in goals. And so, there's data to support that. The reality of it, though, is having a goal becomes a filter for the technology that is valuable to you. You can use the goal. Okay, is this technology going to help me get closer to accomplishing my goal? If the answer is yes, and you have the resources to incorporate it, then you do it. If the answer is yes, and you don't have the resources yet, we'll get the resources and then incorporate it. And if the answer is no, then it's okay to say that's not for me.
Right.
Because there's not every bit of technology, although it's, portrayed as for everybody, not every bit of technology is designed to help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
Doesn't mean it's not great. It just may not be the right connection for you.
Great
and
for you.
You've got to have balance. Now, there's some things that you're going to need to learn if you want to get better, and that you're going to have to lean into.
Right.
But I can't tell you half the things Excel does, right? I still ask my wife, how do you add the numbers up in the columns again? So I'm not going to take a class for that. All right. So technology number 2, and this is from a business perspective. Specifically, if you have, I'm not going to say employees, you could work with freelancers, any team that you have, however you created a team,
right.
Fostering a goal-oriented culture.
Okay.
Right. So from a workplace standpoint, culture that has the values and supports the goals, right? Encouraging team members to set goals.
Correct.
That align with the business. Right. That's the key. That align with the business objectives, right? Having meetings. Now, not death by meeting. We try to have I like to use I'm not from the military. I know you're from a military family, but I watch a lot of military shows. We try to have a sit rep. You like that? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Come on, Willie. Come on. We try to have a sit rep. Shout out to my military. Thank you for all the work that you're doing out there. Thank you for your service. We try to have a sit rep,
right? Just
so we know where we're going, right? We try not to go too deep if we can intercommunicate, whatever, but just the top line points, what's going on, pipeline, what's in production or deals or this type of thing. And then we move on. Not, we try not to have 3-hour meetings or meet all day, right? That's not a general practice. So having those goals, but then creating that empowerment. So having meetings to look at progress and challenges, that's really about, of course, keeping people on track and then keeping people motivated. It's a vehicle for that. So does your culture right now as a business, is it focused on goals? And I'm not talking about quotas, right? 100 calls a day, we're going to burn your feet. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
Right. I'm talking about goals and objectives.
Right.
And marching towards those. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's incredibly important to have the organizational goal and have that clear. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. It's far better to say one thing 100 times than it is to say 100 things one time. So you identify your goal, and then you continue to reinforce that goal on a daily basis. If it's your sit rep or if it's your shift briefing or whatever that is, here's what we're trying to accomplish as a reminder. And then have the people on your team develop goals for themselves that contribute to the success of the organization, because it allows them to get invested in their own success and then the key to bringing those two together is as people accomplish their individual goals, reinforce to the group how that contributes to the greater success of the organization. But you want them all, and I talk about it all the time, parallel lanes. You want to all be going in the same direction, and you want to be going the same way. You're not all going at the same speed. Not every lane on the highway is going the same speed.
Right.
But you want to be going in the same direction, and you want to be trying to get to the same place.
Yeah.
And so by taking their individual goals, allowing them to develop, this is what's important to me to contribute to the success of the organization so that we can get closer to the organizational goal, and then continuing to tie that movement and that momentum to how it's contributing to the greater good.
No, I think, listen, Willie, I think what we need to follow. Woo! When the church say amen. Yeah, there you go. I think he just laid it out there.
Right.
I think what's cool, and just for people who are listening to this, our conversation today is not about the technical aspects.
Correct.
Goals are not new. Setting goals, get your journal. We've talked about some of that stuff before.
Right.
We talked about SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. We talked about that in the previous episode. So I think it was important to look at the different ways that we can come at this. So if you're waiting for, write down your wants and desires, that bullet point is not coming today, because we're really focused on some of those other touch points that lead to your ability to not only make goals, but make those a reality and make those successful.
Right.
Yeah. So
well said.
Thank you. So technology, goal-oriented culture. Now, this next one's interesting because people say they do it, and I don't know that they do, because I think it's something you have to do intentionally. And if you look at, the best advice in the world, and you look at this always comes up in there. I'm talking about a focus on continuous learning. There are so many people that are in park right now. They've mastered their skill. They've mastered their situation. Maybe business is good. They know their stuff, and they're just in park.
Okay.
They've arrived and they've parked, and there's so much going on.
Yes.
There's so much going on. So to not have that attitude, even if you are the leader in your field, I mean, no, you think Tony Robbins is not learning?
Right.
They used to always talk about, obviously, I come from the speaking world, and Lon, you spent time within the NSA community in that world for a number of years as well. But I love the stories because these people were not around for me, like the Zig Ziglars and stuff. Right. I didn't have age gap, and they weren't around in my immediate future. But when you hear, and Brian Tracy, who is still with us, but when you hear about, the things I love, the back of the house stories, we call them, is all of these guys would pull up when you hear other legends tell the stories. These guys with Brian Tracy, with all of his knowledge, all of his success already, 20 books, 30 books, I'm probably even light, but he'll show up writing.
Oh, 100%.
They'll tell the story.
Right.
I saw, Les Brown tell a story about Jim Rohn sitting in the audience taking notes.
Right.
And he said one time, Jim, I don't know what you're taking all these notes. It's your stuff. But shout out to Les Brown, a legend. And, RIP to Jim Rohn, just another, he's my kind of guy.
Rohn, R-O-H-N.
Yeah, Jim Rohn. If you're not familiar with him, you need to get him. He's my kind of guy because his delivery.
Right.
I like being motivated like the next guy, and many people have called me motivating in some form or fashion, but Jim Rohn just had a delivery that was right here. It wasn't super excitable. It was just like profound talk.
Right.
And we need to do like a best. I think that's a good future. Like take some of these legends that have been really impactful, and because again, we're here. I want to curate. Right. I want to curate. We're not, Lon and I are not here to try to be your gurus or anything like that. I just curate, introducing people to maybe some things that they haven't, heard before, or putting some color commentary on some things that they have, but focusing on continuous learning, right? Industry trends, emerging markets, new business tools, encouraging that of your team also, making professional development a priority.
Right.
To contribute to reach those goals, right? You've set some goals, whether that's revenue, market penetration, sales effectiveness. You want to lower your attrition rate, increase your retention rate of customers, whatever those goals may be. Well, now, how do I fill the gaps? What's the learning gap?
Right.
And, sometimes that's active learning, like, courses and the, you could tell I'm used to listening to the legends, books and tapes.
Right.
I still say tapes, CDs, streams. Right. But listening to this, I mean, people who listen to us, this is a contribution we hope we're making to that learning. But beyond that, coaches, bringing in consultants, not being afraid to address or engage in those areas becomes a key opportunity too for consideration.
Well, a couple things, and you brought up Zig Ziglar earlier too. Zig Ziglar had this term automobile university. And when I talked
about that previously.
Yeah, I was in outside sales for 20 years and I was in the car a lot.
Right.
And some years I spent 50,000 miles a year in my car. So that's an opportunity where I'm in my own head. Now I'm, doing some administrative work, calling, talking to people. But I dedicated windows of time in the car to listen to CDs and listen to podcasts and to listen to people that I could learn from. And some of it's educational and some of it is biographical. Yeah. Listening to Teddy Roosevelt's biography or listening to Abraham Lincoln's biography or listening to somebody that you look up to. Yeah. So, but the continuous learning piece is this. The only reason that you don't continue to learn is because you don't want to. Because there are podcasts. We're an example of a podcast. There's all kinds of podcasts. Grow business podcasts. That's right.
Yeah.
There are books on,
Well, I'll tell you a thing I like because I don't have the patience to listen to a 3-hour deal.
Right.
I use a service called Blinkist. So for $80 a year, they break it down in the 15-minute. They'll break a whole book down into a 15-minute video, 15-minute audio, or a 15-minute read,
right?
To give you the touch points. Now, again, there's a lot to, if you like anecdotes and storytelling and all those things in a book, knock yourself out. But, if you want to get the meat and potatoes of some of the concepts and takeaways, and you want to have speed, that's a great tool to use. And then the other thing I picked up from marketing guru Alex Hormozi was he reads a book and listens to the audiobook at the same time. That helps him control his ADHD kind of tendency to change, because a lot of times I'm trying to listen to something, but my mind won't let me do nothing. So now I'm on the internet while I'm trying to listen. So am I getting the real crux of that? Or I'm trying to read and my brain's thinking about a keynote event I got to do, or a client call we got to make, or a pitch that's coming up. So am I really reading or not? So that's one way to at least activate auditory and visual at the same time, and then, maybe you throw yourself in the igloo, then you get kinesthetic, right? So you're really, your attention span is, I
think the great point that you're making, Cory, is that there's a way for everybody to do it.
Yes.
So whether you want to read a book, whether you want to read a Kindle, or whether you want to read on your iPad or whatever it is, or you can listen, or you can do you can read and listen at the same time. There are all kinds of resources. So I go back to what I said earlier is the only reason you're not continuing to develop what you know and how you get smarter and better is because you choose not to.
Right.
Because there are resources that don't cost you anything. And there are resources that you can invest in, like a course and like a program, that are completely immersive. So find your space, find your place, and go do something to continue to develop yourself.
No, 100%. And because that's how you make the goals a reality. We've talked about, we don't want to just be woo-woo. And, I wish we had 100 more clients. Okay, great. Me too.
Right.
Now what, now you got to sit down. Right. Now you got to sit down and execute. Right. Okay. I like that. So the next one, and what I love here is this is unconventional. I don't think anybody talks about the next thing I'm going to say as part of a goal setting.
Okay.
Because really, we're talking about this also from the business perspective. So not just, I want to lose 30 pounds. I mean, that's a goal to have too, right? But kind of from the business perspective and looking at it through that lens specifically. This was an interesting one to me. Okay. I love the build up. Like for those of you on YouTube, you could see Lon, because he doesn't know.
I have no idea what's
he doesn't know. He did know the topic. He did have advance notice today, which is rare on what we were going to talk about, but he has no idea. 99% of the times the things that I'm going to say. So, which is just the way I like it. So, prioritizing customer feedback.
Okay.
So basically, this is the idea of integrating customer feedback into the goal setting process. So understanding a client's needs and expectations and using that as a guide to set some relevant and impactful goals. Particularly when we're talking about things like product development, customer service, and marketing, right? What is your customer telling you, right? Were there lessons that were learned about, where they want to be, right? So do you have a goal to get more active? Have your clients been saying, hey, we don't see you on TikTok.
Right.
We don't see you running ads, or are you getting advice that, oh man, you could be killing it over there. Right. Taking that feedback. And so now as you say, okay, great. I want to 10X my marketing.
Right.
I want to scale where we market, how we market, and maybe even the investment in that. And I'm going to integrate this feedback I've been getting about not being on TikTok or not showing up better on LinkedIn or these types of things. And now now as I make my goal to grow my market share, which is the high level goal. Now, as I get into the details, it becomes things like that. Had you heard? I mean, come on, I got one on you there. Had you thought about that?
Well, I hadn't heard it quite in that way. Okay. I mean, there's some people that we know that Stan Phelps and Scott McCain that talk about customer experience and talk about,
but not in the goal setting,
setting format, right? But I'm tying it all together.
Give me my credit.
You get full credit in the goal. This is not in the goal setting process, right? Not in this format. And not in the goal setting, right?
Yay.
Here's
We still got to get that. That's Lon's signature. Yay.
We'll get there. Yay. So the point of it is this, and we've talked about this before, and this is going to be an entire segment of who are you listening to? Make sure that when you incorporate feedback like that, that the feedback you're incorporating is to attract your ideal client or your ideal customer. So if you get feedback from somebody that's bought from you once and you don't want to do business with them again, run that through your filter, right? That's not my ideal client, or that's not my ideal customer. But the other side of it is if you got people that are buying from you on a regular basis and saying, hey, here's some ideas about how we could grow, because your customers benefit from your business growing as well.
Right.
So if they give you some feedback, here's how we can incorporate friends of mine, or here's how we can incorporate other people that are like me,
right,
that you want to do business with, absolutely take a look at that and build a plan to structure your marketing, to structure how to capture some more of those customers.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's also about the perspective that you have
right
in these areas, like how you are looking at these things.
Right.
Are you looking for problems, or are you looking for solutions?
Right.
Are you looking for challenges, or are you seeing them as opportunities?
Right.
Right. That's so core to how we even think about what goals we want. What's the why do you want to achieve that goal? Right. What people skip the end result.
Right.
Right. People will go, all right, yeah, we want to do more revenue.
Right.
Well, why?
Right.
I mean, it might sound obvious, but what is the real reason? Because many times, right, it's kind of like, you know, there's different paths to $1 million, right? You can have 10 customers who pay X, or 100 customers who pay Y, or 1,000 customers who pay, right? You can do that math so many different ways. So it becomes who do you want to focus on? You know, we've made those adjustments. We've talked about, you know, how an ideal customer can change, or an ideal buyer can change. Maybe you want to do less retail, more private. Maybe you've been doing more B2C for the past years in your business, and you want to get more in a B2B realm. Maybe you've been a service, but you want to introduce a product.
Right.
Maybe you've had a product and now want to introduce a service to complement that.
Right.
So there's all those different ways, but that all starts with understanding the intention of what you want to do, right?
Understanding your goal. And again, that not only the why not only helps shape the goal, it shapes the way you get there.
Right. Listen, if I like to, you know, put it all on 13 red and I had $1,000,
right?
If $100 million showed up, I still like 13 red. Right. My behavior hasn't changed, but what I can do with it changes. So, you know, you make I want more customers. Great. You get flooded with customers, didn't put the support staff in place, or realize you couldn't handle that business.
Right.
Right. You see that in the supplier world. Somebody gets a big contract,
right,
and they're counting dollars that haven't come in yet.
Right.
But they haven't even thought about the infrastructure or the changes that they need.
How am I going to execute that?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you see that they learned that very early in Shark Tank. Early seasons, people would go on, you know, and our widget, and then their website would crash.
Oh, wow.
Right? You know, they were on, you know, the barely open website plan because they were maybe a smaller business, unknown. Also, they go on Shark Tank, and now everybody wants their freaking onion chopper.
Okay.
Now they're sold out and the website crashed because they didn't have the bandwidth.
Right.
I interviewed on my previous podcast, my entrepreneur podcast, the founder and CEO of Death Wish Coffee.
Okay.
So they market themselves as world's strongest coffee.
Okay.
And they won a Super Bowl spot on Shopify.
Wow.
So he was talking about, you know, how they prepared for that and how they went to Shopify. You know, they did some press and media, and they were talking to Shopify, and Shopify said, "Don't worry, we have you on the Kanye West plan." Because, you know, that's back when he was selling those sneakers out.
Right.
And, you know, he had what were they called, William? What were the sneakers? Yeezys. Oh, the Yeezys. I should know that, I suppose. Yeah. But so like we got you on the Kanye West plan. We got servers on back of servers on back of servers because they had a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl spot. So you know what happens or what is supposed to happen if you got a good product, right? When you're going there. So a lot of people weren't prepared, you know, in that way. So
and you got to make sure you have inventory, and you got to make sure you have all those things, right?
Yep.
100%.
All right.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you. You didn't think I'm on the last point.
What?
Yeah, you didn't think that was going to happen.
That's only because we didn't have a number today.
You noticed that.
I did notice that.
You noticed I didn't say numbers.
Right.
I'm also learning something. Drinking carbonated beverages is not the right thing to do when you're broadcasting.
Right.
Because
okay.
this between between that is not helping. I mean, I've been talking all day, so that's probably the thing. But this, I should have probably hot tea or something, which I will keep in mind for less time.
Little honey.
A little honey. Yeah, a little hot tea with a little honey.
Absolutely.
We need more staff in here. Tea. I wish I had tea, please. And then somebody we gotta get somebody else in here for these instances.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna walk away, turn it over to you. I'll be back in 10 minutes, folks. I'm gonna leave it to LG007 to carry
and
it.
I'm not gonna tell him what the last point was.
I'm closing the laptop. You won't even know what the last one is.
I don't know now either.
We're gonna get to the last one. I'm gonna make it through.
All right.
And this is a statement that obviously we're going to have a lot more commentary on in a few minutes. So balance short-term and long-term goals, right? We can focus on our immediate target, but don't lose sight on the long-term vision.
Right.
And then ensure that your short-term goals contribute to the broader objectives for your business. The balance is the crucial part to sustainable growth.
Correct. 100%. I mean, that's yes. And you have to make decisions today understanding the long-term impact of that. Mm-hmm. The other piece of that though is because you understand where you're trying to get to, sometimes opportunities present themselves that can get you there faster.
Right.
Are you willing to take advantage of that when you have that opportunity?
Right.
So that may be, you may have budgeted for the year, and then you win the Shopify ad on the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Well, is that good for your business? Well, yeah.
Right.
You just have to make some decisions to be able to execute on it. But that's a good point of understanding what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. And being willing to take advantage of opportunities that present themselves to get you closer to that. And also recognizing that not every opportunity that presents itself contributes to your long-term success.
Are those ostrich boots you have on?
Yes, they are.
I hadn't noticed that. I don't want to move off the microphone. I like those.
Thank you.
Those are strong. I didn't know you had a cowboy background. That's got a cowboy feel. Willie Ace, did you see these ostrich boots that he had on? Yeah, okay. That's, folks, so, I'm looking at some beautiful, throw a leg up here. Let me see that. Okay, that's nice right there. That's nice.
So while we're detouring.
Yeah, no, I just caught my squirrel went by. It caught my eye.
While we're detouring. Thank you for the compliment.
I'd like to have some of those.
So these are Lucchese's, which is a brand. Very nice brand of cowboy boots. Yeah.
Okay.
Larry Lucchese is in the Lucchese family, and Larry Lucchese used to compete in rodeos.
Okay. I thought when you said Lucchese family, I thought you were curious. thought we were talking about New York mob.
Oh, no. Well,
go ahead. The mob does not exist. Sorry.
This is the Western Rodeo mob.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Okay, got it. Different type. Okay.
So cowboy mob.
Okay.
All right. So Larry Lucchese, the Lucchese is a family name.
Okay.
And the boot maker, Larry
Makes
Lucchese,
sense.
was in the family.
Yep.
I don't remember if he's the first Lucchese that started boot making, but he competed in rodeos and he competed in the Calgary Stampede. My dad's brother, my uncle, was also a cowboy.
Folks, follow along here.
And my uncle, was in the same rodeo and knew Larry Lucchese and competed in the Calgary Stampede. With Larry Lucchese a long time ago.
No correlation to you being able to purchase these boots, though.
No, I just like the boot.
Okay.
And
where do you get those?
Well, this particular pair I got at a store called Boot Hill. Imagine that.
And they carry the Lucchese's.
Right.
Okay.
I also
have
another pair of goatskin Lucchese's.
Okay.
That I had custom made in the Lucchese outlet in San Antonio.
Lon Graham, international man of mystery, and Lucchese boots.
And Lucchese boots.
All right.
Back to goal setting.
Yeah, back my
Connected-
goal. My
connected
goal
to my
Look,
roots.
my goal is to get some of them Lucchese's and ostriches. I'm
There you
liking
go.
it.
I can hook you up.
I caught my eye there. So
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, shout out to all these people who aren't sponsors, right? Lucchese
yeah.
Boots. I plugged Blinkist today.
Right.
We've got LaCroix waters here. Yeah,
We've got the island.
Yeah, we got to get.
We got the Caribbean.
We're gonna get some.
island.
We're gonna get some sponsors.
We will.
But
Indeed.
the short-term, long-term play, and it is threading the needle because there's a degree of seed planting, right?
Correct.
So the goal. All right, so goal. I want to have more corporate clients this year, right?
Right.
So now that's long-term play, right? I want to do $1 million in business with corporate clients. Okay.
Right.
Now that short-term play may be who can you talk to now, or what can you offer them? Or one of our most significant clients last year was based on something that we volunteered to do early on,
Right.
that then became significant business for us.
Right.
That continues on today.
And we'll continue into 24.
Right.
And hopefully continue beyond that.
Yes.
Right.
So, but that only happens, and I'm not, it's not a pat on the back. It was a strategy. I didn't know what would come out of it, or what dollar value would be tied to it, or where it will go.
Right.
We were working with a client the other day that had some people they work with in our offices,
Right.
that we now have an opportunity to do some business with.
Yes.
So
100%.
long term. So you want to, again, threading that needle, finding that balance, looking at those situations, because there's a lot of talk about, BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. I want to reach 1 billion people by 2026.
Right.
Those are great.
Right.
What about the next 30 days?
Right. Yeah, and it goes back to having a goal becomes your filter. And it goes back to that again. That's one of the most important things, is a goal provides you direction, and it also provides you the filter. Because you're going to have detours, and detours, I say this all the time, detours are designed to protect you.
Right.
So you're going to have a detour, but when you go to a detour, there's usually a sign that says, get back on the road, right? This way.
Right.
Well, what the goal does is it allows you to say, okay, this is going to contribute to my long-term success. If I do this short-term, is it going to keep me going in the right direction?
Right.
And so I think the way to manage that is to intentionally structure your time and your targets. So if you have corporate clients that we're targeting, and we signed some corporate clients. We signed a county government client at the end of the year, last year in 23, that we've been working on for really since the beginning of 2023.
Yeah.
I had that first conversation on Valentine's Day.
Right.
And we finally got the agreement in November of that year, of last year.
Right.
So that's a long runway.
Yes.
The other though is so you have you.
But we said at Jump Street, we want to work with government.
Correct. We
want to work with some. We didn't know who they were going to be. Right. So high level, big goal. We want to work with government.
Right.
Now we set our targets.
Well, and
to get those meetings, or to be where they were, or to introduce ourselves and have those things.
Right. And the short term was, who is most accessible to us? Who can we get to? And so, and because we already had access to people that are in leadership roles in those organizations. Right. So we were able to start there. And so that's really balancing time and intention, right? Who are your time and targets? Who are your targets? And how are you spending your time trying to get to them? Right. And what's the path of least resistance? Right. So if you're early in your business, you've got to get to those targets quicker. And then your long-term play, you may have a BHAG, but you can't start with that BHAG today if you're early in your business. You got to start making a little bit of progress each time. Get some wins, build some momentum, and get closer to those people. And identify people that you know that can help you get closer to them. Does that make sense?
Makes 100%. I mean, makes 100% sense to me. I'm going to assume that it's making sense to our audience. They'll let us know.
Right. They will. Well, that was
they have ways to let us know if that's the case. But,
please do.
Goal setting and execution really, as we're in 2024, it is a blend of tried and tested strategies plus new approaches, adaptive approaches, right? Embracing some of the things you already know about goals adding technology, getting that culture right, being adaptable.
Right.
You know, it really does create the opportunity to navigate. And that's what we're doing. We're navigating. We're not on an exact straight path. If we're on the ship and they tell you there's weather, or we're flying and they tell you there's weather, they're giving you a course around it.
Right.
We're still headed to the destination, unless something more traumatic happens and we got to really detour, and life will do that to you too.
100%.
But we're still headed there. So this path to kind of achieving these goals, it iterates, it changes, it's dynamic. So be flexible, be focused, keep moving forward.
Well, and remember too, if you're setting a goal to do something, you're setting the goal to do it because you haven't done it yet. So in order to get there, you've got to try some things differently.
Yeah.
So you got to learn.
Yep.
You got to learn new things. You got to meet new people. You have to adapt what you're currently doing so that you can get to where you want to go. If you were already doing it, it's no longer a goal. It's an activity.
When you talk about meeting people, it made me think of Charlie Tremendous Jones. You know Charlie Tremendous Jones?
I know who he is. I've never been fortunate enough to meet him.
Another legend.
Yeah.
And one of his things that he said that most people will credit to him and know him for is he said now, again, he's passed and he was around in an era where books were the thing.
Right.
He said the only difference between you today and you 5 years from now is the people that you will meet.
Right.
And the books that you will read.
100%.
All right, folks, we're going to leave it there.
Well said.
Yeah, we're going to leave it there. Another exciting show.
Right. And
great having you here.
The only thing, let's do it now. Let's say it this way too.
Okay.
That's a 5-year, right?
Yep.
Let's say we're at the beginning of 2024. The only difference between you and now and you at the end of 2024 are the people that you meet.
Right.
And the books or the books that you read or the podcasts that you listen to.
The information.
Correct. That you have access to.
Right.
That you take advantage of.
That makes sense for you.
Correct.
Not the information that somebody else says you need. If it's not in alignment, right?
Right.
I'm not interested in a book on Airbnb right now.
Right. Parallel lanes.
Right. So don't send me, oh, Cory, you need to be, I'm still getting people wanting me to do Forex.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, listen, if it works for you, no worries.
Right.
But I'm going to need to see that bill of sale on that Ferrari you say you got. Just FYI, I'm going to need to see I'm going to need to see some title documentation.
Right.
Listen, well, I'm thankful to be here with you in 2024. We're thankful to be here with you, our team. We're looking forward to having a great year with the Grow podcast. We thank you for listening. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for sharing. We thank you for liking. We thank you for leaving reviews, everything that you are doing as an audience and everything that you will do. Hopefully in the future, we want to continue bringing this great content. So if you like it, please share it. Please let us know. Please hit all the buttons across the places you're supposed to hit buttons. Anywhere that's button hittable, we'd like you to do it. I feel like William's waiting to hit a button. Well, I thought you had something for us. Did you have a cheer? What'd you have? Give me a cheer.
Yeah,
All right.
Right.
One of my goals for 2024 is he's going to know already. Like he's going to know when I want to hit the button before I even think we're going to be like do, 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 do. And I think we're going to, what I'm going to do, Willie H? Sooner or later, I'm going to activate that extra microphone over there. Cause I think the people, maybe they don't believe there's a Willie H. So I think we're going to have you plug in that E5000, that EV over there. And in that way, we can hear from you off camera. Won't that be fun? Yeah, yes, I think indeed. He likes that.
I like it.
Yeah,
because he's got a lot of good
and
insight.
Folks, let me tell you, if you're ready to get your blood pressure lowered, wait till Willie H starts talking. Okay, all right. He's gonna. If you're amped up, somebody's pissed you off, Willie H is going to smooth you right out.
That's right.
When he starts talking, all right? So I look forward to that. Look for more surprises. Who knows? Who we might have some guests coming in. Who knows what might happen? Everything's on the table in 2024. This is the Grow. I hit the tip. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley, joined by
Lon Graham
and Willie, and soon to be on audio, Willie H. And we will see you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take us out. Take us out. Take us out. Yay.